Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Real Estate of Mind podcast. I got a great guest here from the local real estate community, a guy I've been working with now for a little bit. I want to introduce to you guys Brandon Dotson. Brandon, thank you for coming on the pod, baby.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. It's good to be here, man.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, Brandon has, he has a lot of energy and a lot of stories, so I'm excited to kind of hear what he has to say. But I guess we'll start out, Brandon. Tell the audience, a little about who you are, your background, and we'll kind of just jump from there.
So my name is Brandon Dotson. Obviously, you know that. But I'm a real estate agent. I'm with Compass Newport Beach, and I've been in the market. I've been in the real estate market itself for it's been 19 years now.
19 years?
19 years, dude. Yeah. It's
aging yourself, man. You're aging yourself.
I'm aging myself, right? No,
19 dude. Years experience. Okay.
Yeah, 19 years, right?
19 years. How you got into? So you've been a realtor for that long?
18 going on 19. I started when I was 18, 19, right when I got my license, and so I started off.
License 18 years, 19 years.
Yeah, like right out of college.
You started selling real estate?
I just started selling. Yeah, 2006.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, how long you been with Compass?
I've been with Compass for, I believe it's 4 years now. Yeah, 4 years. It's been 4 years with Compass.
It's Compass, you said, Compass Newport Beach.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of your clients that we've been working with are now in the IE. So are you from the IE or?
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
I was born in Riverside, and I was raised in a city called Moreno Valley.
Oh yeah, Moreno Valley. Shout out Moreno Valley.
Moreno Valley.
Yeah, no, Moreno Valley's. I definitely know. I grew up in Chino Hills, but I went to school at UCR. So
okay, so right there. I
used to go to Day Street to the Home Depot there.
Yeah,
it's Day Street, right? With Home Depot.
Yeah. Day Street, yeah. It's let's see, Day Street. I think that is on the other side of Day Street. Yeah, north of the 60.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm familiar with that area. Anyway, yeah, so you grew up in Moreno Valley, and you made it out. I guess you made it out to Orange County. When did you make it out to Orange County?
So I've been in the OC. It's been, let's see, because I would have to say maybe about 2019, 2020 is when I really started to focus on the OC. I'm familiar with the OC because that's where we would always just be,
hang out
with my brothers. Oh yeah.
There's nothing going on in the IE, so.
Yeah, no, it's well, I mean, there is now. There is they built so much out there, dude. It's literally like Riverside, downtown Riverside. You have I lived in Canyon Crest for a while. I loved Canyon Crest.
Canyon Crest Central.
Right, where?
Canyon Crest Central.
Canyon Crest. Oh, dude,
I lived right on the corner.
I used to live. So it was right off. I think it was
for 4 years. I lived there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
like a townhome.
Canyon Crest is such a vibe. It's a unique place. I mean, it's one of those places where, and I realized that wherever I would live, it would always be an area where it feels like you can almost retire there. It's just like that was the energy. Whether it be like Palm Springs, whether it be I didn't live in Palm Springs, but we would go to Palm Springs a lot. Mm-hmm. But it would be like Palm Springs. There'd be like Canyon Crest. Like one of my markets that I'm in that I focus on is Villa Park.
Yep.
You have
out here.
Yeah. And then I live right now in Belmont Shore.
Oh, okay.
And so it's all just like kind of the same energy. Where everybody's kind of just relaxed and retiring. I like
that. Yeah,
I like that. It's for myself. It's just like that's my speed. That's my speed.
Yeah,
it's
stress free, man. Stress is a killer. So so it's good to live in a community that's a little more relaxed like that. But anyway, really quick, going back 18 years ago, how'd you get into real estate? Tell us how the story is.
Okay, so I've always been into like just property itself, just looking at property, looking at homes. I've always been around it, and I remember one day I was with my friend Crystal, and we both were just like, just looking at each other like, hey, you know what? Like, I want to be a real estate agent. Like, I want to be a real estate agent too. So that's what I said. Let's do it right now. And it was just a very sporadic decision.
Yeah.
I just stood up, and we walked into, we were sitting down with my mother, and we were just talking to her about it, and I said, let's go right now, and we walked into a Tarbell Realtors office, and Tarbell Realtors is now they actually were transitioned in Berkshire Hathaway, and so
I don't see them around.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore now. They're Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway bought them out, and or not bought them out, but they purchased the company, merged, and so I was with Tarbell, and definitely, I mean, I much respect to Tarbell because they taught me so much. But going back, so like we walked in the office, and I told the broker, I said, hey, you know what? I want to be a realtor. And 3 months later, I was a realtor, and I was just closing out the gate, just literally closing. And then the market went crazy, like the whole 2006, 2007 market.
Oh, you were in that market?
I was in it, dude.
Yeah, at that point, you were like 20, 21. Yeah.
Oh, man, I was, it just, and it came out of nowhere, you know? And so it was just such a learning experience, like just 1 second, everything's moving. Then all of a sudden you see like signs, for sale signs everywhere, and everything just started to just go crazy. And and it was just a very, very different market.
Well, how'd you do? I mean, how'd you get your first deal? Do you remember your first? Because a lot of realtors remember their first deal.
Let's see. My first deal was, okay, so it was definitely in Moreno Valley. I believe it was from an open house. And open houses, actually, that's still to this day, like it's huge, like the importance of open houses. But I believe it was from an open house, and it was buyers out in Moreno Valley.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was off of Day Street, actually. It was a community off of Day Street. It was what was it? It was just like south of the 60. And I remember it was like a newer home, and it was a large family, you know, and yeah, just it was just a very
225. You're getting like a house. That back then, because you're talking about 06, 07.
Well, the prices actually. So oddly enough, I looked at the prices back then, and the prices back then, I think it was about $600,000, like $600,000.
For what?
For it was just a newer built home, and so it was actually higher.
Barely that much now.
Exactly. It's like it was higher back then. Like it was really, really high in consideration. The prices are higher now, but at that exact point in 06, it was like the height, which is like kind of like the low of what you're seeing right now. So maybe like a 20, 30, like 20, 25, 30% difference, like from what you're seeing like right now.
Yeah.
So it was actually pretty pretty high up there.
You know, that's crazy expensive back then. I mean,
yeah.
People are affording that. We're asking ourselves how people are affording it now. And back then it's crazy.
Now it's just, it's a whole different market. And you know, it's crazy because even right now, the market it took off. I mean, since January, you know, I don't know what happened well, I do know what happened last year. You know, we had the election, we had a whole bunch of different things that happened, but just seeing the transition between last year to this year, it seemed like right after the new year, people were just like, hey, you know what? I don't care. I want to buy. Like, I'm tired of waiting.
You're talking about this happening this year.
What's happening this year?
You're just getting a lot more calls. People are just,
oh man, like it's just
in
been
the market basically.
Left and right.
Yeah.
Like left and right. So
now you have it's like feast, I guess, but I don't, a lot of this business is feast or famine.
It is.
Can you recall a story or tell us about a time? Because it's not all good. It's not all good. And it's for you to make it in this business for, you said 18 years, especially when you got bills and you got kids, you got, you know, things to pay for. It's hard, man. It's hard. I mean, tell us about, you know, have you ever been broke before, basically? Have you ever had a time when you've been just broke in this business and kind of thinking about quitting?
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Like it's so like my demeanor always is this positive energy, like this positive, strong energy. But no, like the amount of times that I've been like literally and figuratively like punched in the face, like you just get hit so many times to where you're just like, okay, you know what? Like I understand that I need to, you know, kind of like bob and weave. You know, it's this is not a perfect market. And everybody comes in with, you know, big hopes and dreams and just say, hey, you know, this is exactly how I'm going to, you know, I'm going to just be this big agent. I'm just going to take over. And a lot of them, you know, if you don't have the right support system or the right work ethic,
right,
you will absolutely just fall right on your face, and you have to learn from that. You know, yeah, there's absolutely been times where I was just like, there was one time I'd moved to New York and I spent a year in New York, just like, and this was in 2008 after the market started crashing.
Oh, yeah. What happened? Yeah. Let's tell us the story.
Oh man, it's okay. So the market
Market goes to shit and you're like, holy hell, what am I going to do?
yeah, I just called my cousin. I said, hey, I said, Will Kinney, this is my cousin, one of my cousins in New York. I said, Will Kinney, take me on. He owned a roofing and construction company.
There you go.
And I said, well, take me on. I said, I want to learn everything that there is to know about roofing, about construction, about everything that there is to know about home, because I realized that, I said, we're in a market now where if you don't have some type of special skill, like some type of special niche or disability, and then you're just going to just absolutely fail.
Right.
And so I took that time. I moved to New York. I was literally like a trash man, like just picking up, just like learning, just doing the dirty work, and I mean, I can't tell you how many times, like it was just, I remember one time I was walking, this big rubber roof just falls right behind me, just cracks the concrete. I'm like, this is wild. It was, I mean, driving dump trucks and ice, like black ice, just,
oh, shit,
it was,
but I'm sure you learned what were some good lessons you learned out of that about the dirty work, essentially?
I learned how to build a home, I learned from the ground up. He put me in every position, and I mean, definitely thank you, Kenny. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. No, he put me in every position. And he really just showed me, just from all the way from like the office, internet, website design, it's like with the company marketing, all the way to the actual like dirty work of just like roofing, of just actually, like just watching, just, okay, how are the shingles laid? What types of shingles are using, 3-tab, architecture, timberline, it's just all these different things that you need to know, and I learned it. I learned, like, what's underneath the walls. And really what it did for me in real estate is it changed my confidence, right? Because now when you see a hole in the wall, before it was, like, my buyers say, oh, I know, like, what do we do? We have to ask for $10,000,
right?
And knowing the cost of materials, knowing actually doing it myself, it changed. They would look at me, and that's what a lot of agents don't realize, is that your buyers are looking at you, and it's not really what you say, but your emotional reaction to it, right? They're looking at, okay, well, how does my realtor feel about this situation, right? They look at you, and it's just like, am I saying, okay, we'll ask for $8,000, right? And they're wondering why their escrows are falling apart.
Yeah.
Right? When really it's your emotional reaction, your emotions, right? That's, I think, one of the biggest things that we're paid for as realtors. They look and they're like, oh, okay, well, there's a hole in the wall, we want $10,000. And I just say, no, say $10,000 is too much. If we ask for $10,000, then this is likely what's going to happen.
Right. And it's just and you give them your experience. This is going to cost X amount of dollars. This is what we're going to ask for. We're going to close,
Yeah. Or just even knowing, like, okay, patching a hole, let's say, $100, $200, or just whichever, the cost.
It's going to be a couple.
I get
drywall.
And then having the resources, like having your people on hand of where you can call, you could reach out to recommendations, because buyers, that's what they really, really need, is that guidance. Not just somebody that's just there to just, okay, thank you for the paperwork, here's the paperwork. Thank you for the paperwork, here's the paperwork. It's just like, no, we need guidance. We need to know, there's a hole in the wall. Okay, well, what do we do about that?
Right.
And
so you go above and beyond. Yeah, a lot of people think realtors are, they just open the doors, open the doors and give it to your TC to do all the paperwork. But yeah, I know there's definitely a lot more of the job that people don't see. So I appreciate you kind of harping on that. But kind of going back to this New York story. So anyway, you're in New York. You basically, the market goes to shit. You're broke. Go to New York, you're basically trying to find a new career, trying to get out of real estate at that point, basically.
I was held on to the license though. I knew that's what I wanted to do.
So how'd you get back in? Like, what was the next step after New York? We went into construction. You learned the dirty work, learned all about, homes and things like that, building homes. How'd you get back in? And why'd you come back to California?
I came in, I flew out there with a return ticket. I had a standby ticket, and then the goal was 1 year, go back. And that's what I did. I did 1 year, and I came back. And when I came back, it wasn't peaches and daisies. I actually had taken on a marketing position with Bank of America.
Okay.
And so I worked for Bank of America, and you kind of know like what you're capable
A
of.
job at Bank of America during the crisis, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was a few years after. It was like I think it was 2010 maybe.
Still like right after that, it was tough to get a job, man. I struggled getting jobs. I was getting bounced around jobs at that time. So good for you. You got like a salary job?
Yeah, salary job.
Smart for me to get anything at that time.
And I was selling real estate like at the same time, like just kind of like doing both, you know. And so I realized, you know, I said
You had a side hustle as real estate at that time, basically.
it's like exactly.
You're working at B of A.
It was kind of, yeah, it was kind of like a side hustle. In fact, it definitely was. And from Bank of America, you know, it was just, I realized, I said, you know what, if I'm ever going to be successful at real estate, like I want to be, and then I'm going to have to do it full time.
Right.
You know, and Bank of America, I loved it. I got to travel, you know, I was one of the, I was, you know, a top producer there. I worked in a department where we would sell, it's not necessarily sell, but we would service credit cards. And so we would upsell, like we would talk about, you know, different things and upsell different products. And really just my whole perspective wasn't really just like, okay, I'm going to sell. It's more so, what's your problem and what's the solution, right? And so if you saw somebody that had maybe, you know, oh, I have, you know, this credit card that I'm paying this amount of interest on, and it's just like, well, if you're paying that, and then, you know, here's the solution. And then I would give them the pros and cons. I would say, okay, well, you know what, here's the thing. Here's the reason why Bank of America is doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Because obviously, you know, every company has to make money. And so here's the reason. So as long as they fully understood, and then they can actually reap the benefit, right? Because realistically, the goal is after that, you know, year of promotion, the interest rate will go up, right? And so as long as they understand that and understand how to plan accordingly, it'll put them in a good position. And that's really what it was, you know, which is, so I did that. And I was, you know, top producer in for a while there. And I got to fly out to Dallas. I got to train, you know, I was offered a job there in Dallas. I turned it down, which I think about it now, and I'm just like, the prices of homes back then, and
Dallas is coming up. It's a little Texas. We'll talk about Texas later, but yeah,
it blew up, man. It blew up. Like I don't get it. Like it just, like how everything just exploded in 2020. And you know what? You know what's crazy? I always thought that the market was too high, the entire time. Like the entire.
Yeah, you and a bunch of other people, and that's the problem. It's too high. You're waiting for the crash. Waiting for the crash. Yeah, crash never happened, buddy.
You're in the middle of it, and you don't even realize. You're like, oh, it's too high. Oh, it's too high. And you know, I remember selling a home out in Riverside, out in Orange Crest, and it was about $450,000. And I remember this home is really high, and that home is now worth about just shy of $1 million.
There you go. It doubled in price.
It doubled in price.
Maybe a little bit more than doubled in price. So when was this?
This was, let's see, I want to say 2015. 2015.
That guy waiting for it's a lot of the content that I do here is talking about kind of people that are waiting for the market to crash that never crashes. So
it's not going to. It's going to keep going.
That's a good example. And I talk about a lot of the big metropolitan areas, and Southern California has become just a big metropolitan area by itself. And we're just too popular. There's just too many people here and not enough homes for prices to really go down to the point where you're going to sit. Another thing I talk about is that when you're looking at 20 to 30% drop in homes, that means the economy's gone to complete crap. That means that means your unemployment rate is 12%, 14%, whatever. The unemployment rate is high. People are losing their jobs. It's not a good situation. You don't want homes to go down 25, 30%. That means you might not have a job. So you don't want that. And I tell people that all the time. Some of the kind of general advice I give people, maybe like in the outskirts where I will say, like when the demand just isn't there, like Southern California, you're talking about places like Barstow or something like that.
Yeah.
Barstow, or even the suburbs of Bakersfield, Banning. And Banning's now becoming a place where people are moving to. These places that people like, yeah, you're from the IE, you know. Like,
I'm listing a property in Banning literally on Thursday.
Not hated, but they like, oh, Banning? I ain't going to Banning. Beaumont? I ain't going there. Yeah. But now it's like become the place. Even I've had people on from Menifee and Menifee, the Wildemar area. Menifee's nice now. It's like
blew up overnight.
Yeah, it's like a nice neighborhood. Menifee and Murrieta. Murrieta's the other one that's right next to it. Murrieta's even nicer. It's even a little bit more expensive. So Anyway, we're just talking about, the market crash and things like that. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Yeah.
Not going to happen that way that people expect it.
Right.
Right. They think that, it's, they expect to see a visual market crash. And then realistically, what happens is it happens right in front of our eyes, but we don't know. And it happens individually, like transactionally.
Yeah.
It might be one home that you see that drops in a slight price value, but that's usually from like an all cash purchase.
It's a one-off. And we're talking about, I know I always talk about generalities, not a one-off.
Yeah.
So that's just like that home that has this weird feature that nobody wants, that, nobody's buying, and things like that. Well, anyway, man. Yeah. So we went a little bit through your story. We talked about, so you came back from New York, and you just hit the ground running, with Bank of America. When did you leave Bank of America?
2015.
Oh, so you stayed there for a minute. 2015.
Yeah.
For a minute. I mean, that's some good, I guess it's good corporate experience. I always suggest, especially the young people out there, to get some corporate experience just to see how companies are built, how companies are structured. Sometimes you do need a boss. Sometimes you do need to be micromanaged a little bit before you go out on your own, kind of do your own thing, because now nobody's managing you anymore. Especially you got to kind of get your own hustle up, get your own grind going, and nobody's going to pretty much be watching you. So when did you go completely on your own? 2015?
2015. I joined Coldwell Banker, and I was with Coldwell Banker, and Coldwell Banker I loved Coldwell Banker. It was a beautiful company.
Mm-hmm.
I was with Coldwell Banker in Riverside, with their, it was an office right off Brockton. And that office, I learned so much. Just from, and really my thing was always watching the number one agents. I would always watch okay, who's number one, right? How do they speak? How do they, where do they go? What's their daily routine, right? Literally down to the details of what do they eat? What's their diet? How do they dress? What's really the way that they think, right. And then I would help them.
You're going deep. That's deep.
I remember one of the top producers, he walked by and he had this shirt on, and I remember asking him, I'm like, oh wow, that's a really nice shirt. What
shop? Where do you do that?
What is that shirt? And he looks and he says, oh, it's Eaton. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get me an Eaton shirt. I said, I want an Eaton shirt.
Until you see that price.
Until I saw the price. I went on, and I was not an Eaton shirt man at that time. So I went on there and I looked, and I said, oh, and it was $200-300 a shirt. And I was like,
no, t-shirts or polos?
It was just a dress shirt, just a dress shirt. But the way that it fits, and I do own an Eaton shirt now, a couple Eaton shirts, but just the way that it fits, it's just different. It has an extra stitch in the back that kind of pulls in the waist, and just the material itself. It's a lot thicker material, is stitched different.
Stuff that'll last longer. Yeah,
it'll last longer. But at the same time too, Eaton is just at the time I was just oh yeah, I'm going to get me an Eaton shirt, and he was like, okay, and he kept walking, and just very calm demeanor. He was never salesy, and never just in the sense of just very just hyper. The personality, the sales type of personality, and
he wasn't pushy.
He wasn't pushy at all.
Right.
He would actually turn down business, and just seeing how he was with that, it changed my perspective in regards to what it takes to really be at that next level.
That's a good comment right there. That stuck to me. So, and that's what a lot of people don't realize is taking on the right client. Sometimes you just got to let people go. Don't waste your time. I mean, we're in business to be in business, so absolutely. We don't want people and we don't get paid until the deal's closed. So I guess speak to a little about that, about how taking on the right clients a little is important.
It's you think about somebody like Floyd Mayweather or Habib Nurmagomedov. It's Habib's retired, but you think about just the best fighters, the Muhammad Ali's. They were not only good fighters, but they were also very, very, very strategic. The John Joneses, they're very, very strategic in the way that they pick their opponent. So just as much as the ability to fight, you also have to have the IQ to be able to selectively look and say, okay, you know what, this is somebody that I can help effectively.
You just remind me of, sorry, but you just remind me of Canelo.
Canelo's
he's picking his opponents right now.
Yeah.
Canelo's, you're just talking, because I know
He's smart. He's smart with it though.
He's picking his opponents and he's not fighting. But that's I guess he's smart because you're trying to relate it to clients, but he's smart to not take on the right opponent. He's not taking on David Benavidez.
Exactly.
And that's the big story, and it's one of the bigger stories in boxing around he doesn't want to fight the top guy because Benavidez, he's a straightforward Mexican fighter that's gonna he's not gonna back down, and he's just a physically bigger guy than Canelo. He doesn't want to take that pounding. So anyway, Canelo's being strategic, and sorry to cut off.
It's like the John Jones or Tom Aspinalls. It's like you have the same situation. It's you know what you can take on, you know what you can't. Right. And so like with myself, I know where my responsibilities. You have to be effective in your time management. Right. So even though you can have 20 clients at a time, everyone has to feel like you have no clients, like you have no one else but them, and that's the hardest part for a lot of agents is they want to say, hey, I'm busy, and they think that is something that's going to help their business. It's not. It's going to murder your business because the buyers won't hear that, and they don't hear, oh, this agent is a popular agent because she's busy, right? She's a good agent because she's busy. They just don't want to work with that agent. They will just get rid of that agent. So being busy is not the best thing, right? It may be with other agents, right? With another agent, I'm busy, right? That kind of builds that respect a little bit. But with the clients, you always have to be available. That's why when you call top producers, and you're an agent, right? You might get text messages back, you might get, but if you call them as a client, right? If you call them as just someone like wanting, they're always answering their phone.
If I call, I go straight to voicemail. But if I was a client,
if they're a client,
I would actually text back.
Right? You call from a number that it's like, oh, hey, I've done that before. I have two phones, and and some agents, they would know, and I know the ones that are just a little bit more busy. I'll call them, and it's going to voicemail, and I'm like, okay, and I'm calling from my agent phone. Then I pick up my other phone that I never call from, and I call them, and they answer immediately, and they're just like, oh, hello, like, hi, and I'm like, they're available, right? They're always available, so they know how to strategically place that.
Well, that goes back into like team building and things of that nature. So
yeah.
When you're calling a top producer, I don't mind if somebody from their team answers, because their team is not only connected to that person, but they can go over my situation, get it to that right person, and they can kind of develop a plan and kind of go further from there. I don't know. Are you working with a team right now? Are you kind of a single agent, right?
Single agent, but I do have a team overall. It's and that's actually another thing that I learned is that there are some teams out there that are presented as teams.
Yeah.
Right. They're saying like, we are a team. This is us. We. Then there's other agents that are presented as themselves, but still have a team.
Right.
Right. It's interesting. Like one agent out of the office that I came from in Riverside, of Cole Banker, he was an individual, but he had a team, and he had a team that worked very hard for him. Yeah. But it was almost like a fighter. Like when you see a fighter, you see John Jones, he has a team, right? But you see the fighter himself, you see John Jones, right? And you think John Jones, right? John Jones, that's the name you see, right? Most fighters, that's how they are.
Yeah.
But everybody else behind them is who makes them great. So like my marketing,
trainer, the nutritionist, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So like for me, it may be the Karinas, the Giselles, the people that are behind me that really, really, really just push my business, forward and allow me to be the quality of agent, because the thing is, you have to always be effective with not only just, like your response times. Like if you say something in this business, do it.
Right.
You have to do it, you have to show up, it's you have to, and that's something that I even struggle with a lot of times. It's like, because I'll take on too much, I'll overwhelm myself,
right.
And I just get to this point where I'm just like, so that's when it tells me, I'm like, all right, Brandon, it's time to build more to this team so that you don't run into that problem. I still run into it to this day.
No, for sure. I know. I was just going back. I was just thinking about right now what we were just talking about, how like, the top producers choose the clients. But from your perspective, Brandon, what's your like do nots, or like what is something that a client will do or is doing, and you're like, you know what, sir, I just feel like that you're not the right person for me and my team. I don't think we're best suited to work together. Yeah. Has it ever come to that point? And what are your like do nots, or what do people do or do not do for you to essentially just let them go and just be like, we're not a good fit?
Well, the most important thing out of the gate is focus and understanding of what they want, right? Because if you don't know what you want, and then I won't either, right? If you have to know where you want to be, you have to know what you want, essentially. A lot of clients will come in and they'll say, oh, I can be anywhere. I can be in LA. I can be in Riverside. I can be, and it's just like, well, what's your focus, right? What's your why, right? Why are you here? So like some clients will walk in and they'll say, hey, you know what? I need to be within 5 miles of my mother.
There you go. That's perfect.
It's like, all right, cool. Now I can focus, right? And I had a client just recently, a few days ago. She says, you know what? My son, he's a police officer and he needs to be closer to, his family, his kids, everyone's here. He's all the way over here. Yeah. He needs to be here. And that was easier for me. I said, okay, you know what? I look at, okay, we can hyper-focus, because the way that I am is I go out of the box for instance, like one client I had was from Taiwan, and they were in Taiwan. They knew exactly where they wanted to be. They said we want to be in Tustin Ranch. We want to be on the golf course. And
I remember this kind. Yeah.
You remember? Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about them. Yeah, go ahead.
So bottom line, and I actually started a company from this actual situation. But so they were like, we want to be in Tustin Ranch. We want to be right on the golf course. And I was just like, okay, and they were in Taiwan. And I found the home. The home pops up right on the golf course. I said, okay. And I want to, my thing is I have to be able to envision like the home, see the home like how they see it, feel it like how they feel it. So I see the home, I message them, because obviously we're on different time zones. And so like 2 in the morning, I'm like, it's like the morning over there. And I'm like, okay, I found the home, here's the home. And so what I did was I actually, at the time, I knew about Matterport and 360 and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't own the cameras or anything. And I wasn't in a position where I could just like financially just send somebody out. And so I went on a website, ShareGrid, and I rented the camera, and I get the camera, I go out, knock on the door, and the listing agent also just so happened to be the seller. And so they were the owner of the home. So it was perfect. So I asked them, I set up another showing. I said, can I 3D map your home, right? And send it to my clients in Taiwan. Mm-hmm. And so they said, yes, that's fine. And so I went on YouTube, learned how to do it, and then went there. I got the Matterport account and I scanned the entire home, went through the entire home itself, and sent them the model. We ended up writing an offer, $100,000 over asking. We were 13 offers. We were third place, but we still got it because the two first offers were investors, and they were like, you know what? We're friends with our neighbors. We love our neighbors. Like, we want to sell to a family who's going to love it.
Right.
And those were my clients. So I waited. I sat there. I printed and bound the offer, and I sat there and waited in my car until the last person left out of the open house, out of the final open house. And I got out. I went there and caught them like right at the last moment, right when they were about to lock the door. I said, "Here's our offer." They said, "Come inside." And they said, "Okay, we're gonna, pop open a bottle of wine and we're going to read your offer. Like,
wow,
we want you to talk."
Personal touch. I like that, man.
But I couldn't do it unless I was focused. Unless I was focused, but they were focused. They knew where they wanted to be.
The clients were super focused on the area, but you were super resourceful. Going on YouTube University, man, learn that new trick.
YouTube. YouTube.
Yeah, no, YouTube is genius. Now, yeah. So I guess for those out there, he bought a Matterport you rented a Matterport camera.
At the time, yeah.
That's the camera you guys are gonna see when you guys go on Zillow and you see a 3D mock-up of somebody's house and you're able to literally walk in. He literally rented that camera.
Yeah.
And did the whole diagram for the client that's obviously not in America. Man, you're getting clients from Taiwan. That's really cool. First of all, I don't know how your reach is getting to Taiwan, so that's really cool. But just the resourcefulness. So anyway, man, commend you for that. But then that ended up being a whole new business for you, right? Like you ended up starting a whole new business just off of that little one venture. So yeah, talk to us a little about that. How did that little one thing turn into a whole business?
So I realized I'm a guy that is problem solution. So I saw the problem in real estate where, one, not a lot of agents use Matterport and in 3D walkthroughs, and I used them all the time. I love them.
For your listings?
For my listings, but even just for me, like when I'm looking at property, if I want to, go and invest in a property out in, Texas,
Right.
the number one thing that, and we were talking about that.
Yeah.
The number one thing is going online, is going and seeing, being able to walk around, around a home and be able to actually just feel it, see it. And we're moving into an age where, we're virtual reality, AI, and so we're going to be in a stage where we're going to have probably glasses where we can just like look around and we're like, oh, look at this, this home, just sit in that actual home, and there's so many things that are coming in the future.
That might already be out, by the way.
It's already out. It's already the Apple glasses, so they connect. To where you can use the Oculus with Matterport to look around and be actually life size in the home. And so, but not many people use it yet. But so I saw the need for it. Now, basically, what I did was I said, okay, you know what? One thing that I always noticed is that no one ever went outside. You would always you could walk up to the door. You can see the 360 from outside, but you can't actually walk outside and see, okay, well, what's around this corner, or what's over here, or what's on the other side of the pool, what type of pool equipment are they using? It's just, you can't see the details, and details are what allow you to make a decisive decision. So I just said, I want to shoot it the way I want to shoot it. I just want, I like when you talk to agents, there was a gap, right? There was the photographers and there was the agents, and there's two different minds. Right. And the agents say, we want this. And the photographers say, oh, okay, we'll do this, but this is this price and this is this price. And just, it's just like, how can we make this simple? How can we simplify this?
Right.
Right. And so when I did it, when I shot it, right. And then I said, okay, I understand the structure. I understand how I would want to shoot it, what angles, where I'd want to be standing if I wanted to see this room. Right. I wouldn't want to be standing against the wall, like just over here. I want to stand in the center of the room, be able to look around, see everything from a good open vantage point. And so I created this structure of where, this is how you would walk through this. So bottom line, I created the company Dotchimi, and it's just Matterport and floor plans. And just, there's photography and there's drone, but it's not something that I focus on. And I realized, I said, in order for it to be effective and cost effective for realtors, because not a lot of realtors have that budget. And we talked about that.
Yeah. I mean, especially for the lower priced homes.
Yeah. I was a broke realtor for a long time, myself, like just like I even started to write a show on it, but
oh, really?
yeah, no, like literally,
so you're getting into
the film world, no, right. it's I had an opportunity to dabble into film, but anyways, so
the Matterport thing,
the Matterport, like going into Matterport, I realized, I said, there's a huge need for it. I created the company. And, now I offer it with 100% of my listings, and just a full walk through the full, there's even parts of Matterport that agents don't even know exist. Like how you can add your business card, to the Matterport, how you can, you can shift, or you can actually change. Like when you add the link on the MLS, you can't add your branded link. You can't add a branded tour, but there is a branded tour that exists. And so bottom line is that you can actually go on Zillow and you can add a branded tour link to where it actually is showing your business card, just different things of where agents really can kind of take back control in regards to, just what the client is seeing. Right. They can get access to the people that they need to really, really, really get the homes that they want.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw. And so I created Dotchimi.
Yeah. So that company, I mean, essentially started out with you helping out a client in Taiwan, and now I think it's going to also help people, like you just said, buy in Texas. We're going to be able to buy, I've even bought properties that I've never seen before. And that thing is, so now you're offering it on all your listings, basically as a complementary kind of tool. And you're helping other agents, right? I think you're kind of offering it to other agents, become a side business, and you could scale that and so on and so forth. Because living in Southern California, man, we need multiple streams of income.
Well, what? Some of the biggest agents here in even Newport Beach, they use my company. So a lot of the,
that's awesome. Yeah, you were telling me, that's freaking great.
Dude, like all of them, like it's so amazing. Like some of the biggest names, like some of the, it's just amazing because I'm scanning their listings, or my team is scanning their listings. My guys are out there and heavily trained in regards to the exact structure of how how I would shoot it. But just seeing the names that we're scanning, and I'm just like, it's interesting because this is borderline, like, this is kind of like the competing agent, you know, but we're responsible for like all of their structure, their infrastructure in regards to, you know,
Right.
like their Matterports, their floor plans, you know, just every single time consistently, you know, and it's beautiful to see, you know, and then we also get a good foresight in regards to properties that are coming to market. You know, when I see that, you know, I say, okay, well, you know, here's, you know, I know of properties that are coming to market, just that IQ. So when I have clients on the real estate side, you know, obviously, you know, it's going to take time. You know, I wait until the property hits the market, you know, because it's fair. You know, I don't want to be not fair, but at the same time, you know, it gives me that insight in regards to what is.
It's just another opportunity for you to network with people in the business, again, to get more insight and to get more insight for the clients, to get them the homes that they really want.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man, you're in Newport Beach. So like, I don't know, that market is, number one, it's like super, super high. Obviously, it's like one of the highest. They don't, like the agents there, are they always doing well? And their agents, like, I'm sure there's like the lower agents, but I mean, some of these top agents, I'm sure they're like always doing, they don't feel the downturn as much, because I was just talking to my team recently. I don't know if you know, but in 2024, we saw one of the least transactions ever recorded in the history of real estate. Actually, since 1995, we've only seen, it was 4.2 million transactions happen in the United States.
Okay.
Which is the same as what we had in 1995. Yeah. So, and I was telling this to my team over the Christmas dinner, and in 1995, the United States was close to 260 million people. Today we're closer to 330, 340. So it's roughly 80 million people.
Damn.
And we're having the same amount of transactions. But do you feel that Newport is kind of like in a bubble? Because even during like the, like, I guess we feel it, like I'm saying, your IE clients feel this a lot more. Like Newport's always felt like a bubble. They just don't feel the Newport or your Beverly Hills, your West LA, like your super, super high end markets.
Yeah.
I mean, are you seeing agents out there struggle? I'm not going to struggle, or just do less, or complain.
Oh yeah.
Or they just kind of live in fantasy land over there?
They're a little. I think that there's a certain, like, the agents there, you know, they've done well to where their reserves are keeping them kind of okay, but the actual business itself, you know, I
do actually see business down in the high end markets, because it's down in the United States right now, or was in 2024.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Actually, me myself, so I would focus, you know, like in areas that were considered high end markets. Obviously, Villa Park, you know, it's you know, high end market, and but what's interesting is that those homes are sitting. A lot of them are sitting, you know, for a while. And I had one in Culver City where, you know, I just kept on getting a call back from the, you know, the same agent, you know, and I would reach out to them. I'd keep updated.
Same agent that viewed it, that he's like waiting for you to drop to like make.
Well, I was on the buy side.
Oh, you're the buy side.
I was the buy side. So I had, my client was an all cash purchase.
So you're waiting for the listing agent to drop so you can buy.
Yeah. And they were just going all over the place. Like the price was just going up. It was going down. It was going up. It was going down. Like they didn't really know how, you know, like, well, I mean, they knew how to price it, but they didn't know how to adjust to the shifts in that market, you know, it was not ever seen before, nothing that they've ever seen. And so they even called me, they told me that, you know, and so they were up to, it was 2,825,000, and we ended up in escrow at 2,525,000. It was, 2,525. And so $300,000 reduction from that price. And it was just, it was one of those things where, you know, when you see it, you don't normally see that, you know, it's just, you know, at least maybe 100,000, maybe 150, maybe.
Yeah, in that market.
You know, in that market, yeah. But to see, you know, the acceptance at that level, it was a lot of pressure. And as time went by and the fires haven't made it any better. I mean, well, in Newport, actually, a lot of people, a lot of buyers that were affected in the fires, and my heart definitely goes out to everyone who was affected in the fires and in Palisades and Altadena. It was atrocious. Yeah. It was atrocious, you know, and just to see that, you know, you look at just the transition from like, where would you live? If you're in Palisades, if you're in Malibu, right, what's the next closest, lifestyle, where you can actually get kind of that same feel.
Right.
And really it's only a couple places. I mean, unless you go north, like to Santa Barbara, you're looking at, Manhattan Beach, you're looking at, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, so you're looking at the OC market mostly, not Manhattan Beach, but you're looking at the OC market.
Into that a little bit, because me and my coworkers were kind of having an argument, or a discussion, I should say. and you're actually kind of mentioning that, how like a lot of people are moving from the Palisades to Orange County. And it's not that I disagree. I think the thing is that the stats aren't out yet. So it's, for those of you guys not from the area, the Palisades is a very high-end community. You're talking about multi-million-dollar homes.
Yep.
Altadena is different, probably more blue collar, but I'm talking the Palisades people, they're saying, oh, they're going to be moving to OC. They're going to be moving to Newport and in that area. And I was just telling most, like, dude, people that live in LA, so the Palisades and Newport are very far from each other.
They're different.
And they're
lifestyle-wise.
And you're talking about, in traffic could be 2 hours, but with no traffic and going like 75, it's an hour, like minimum. And you're never going to get there in an hour anyway. You're talking about an hour and a half to at least, maybe even 2 hours to get from the Newport Beach, or in the higher end area, which is essentially Newport Coast, into West LA, where most of the jobs are probably going to be, that these people are, unless they're allowed to, or unless they're working remote, and even if they own businesses, a lot of times they're going to want to be near their businesses.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's my opinion, and I want to see what your opinion is on this, that I think it's a minority. Because I think LA and OC are two completely different markets. And I think my opinion is it's a minority that's moving to Orange County.
Well, it's a big minority.
So it's not. So that's what I'm saying.
So my office being in Newport Beach. So my actual office, and I actually have counted this. Like, I've sat on the MLS and literally looked at like every active listing. I looked at. So I've literally done this. I've went online. I've looked at every active listing that was on the MLS, and when I did that, I counted them. 1, 2, 3, Compass. Compass is responsible for about 50% of the homes that hit market in Newport Beach. Okay. Like literally between my office and a couple other offices, but they're all Compass.
I know.
And so it's such a strong hold. So now I'm like, okay, well, what are the numbers looking like? And we would talk about this. We would talk about just the transition of the LA market, because we have our other office in, right across the street from Rodeo Drive. That's our main office, our main hub. And we're seeing that transition. And me personally, I actually have like messages from like close clients, close friends that one in particular that lived in the Palisades. And where did he go? He went to Corona Del Mar. And so I know a personal example of, of a friend whose home burned down, not my personal friend, but my client's friend. And he actually sent me the message. He said, look, this is really what's happening,
So yeah, my question to that, how is that guy able to move that far away from his old house?
A lot of them are just
like how can, they're changing markets completely.
Well, when you're in that kind of like that, if you're living in the Palisades, you're not really like working like a 9 to 5 feel. Right. It's more like an executive, more like you can work from home. You can you just have to be available. You might go to the office maybe like once or twice a week. Mm-hmm. So it's more of an executive role, and in that executive role, it allows them freedom to really kind of be anywhere. And so that's really what I'm noticing, is that a lot of the people that are coming, they have that freedom to where they don't have to be in the office, and it's kind of like myself, with realtors, we can kind of be anywhere, just we focus in certain markets, but we can kind of live, like anywhere within the region,
right?
Just because of the fact that how we run our business and how we focus on our business, we're not always in the office. And now we're in the day and age of Zoom, you can hop on a Zoom call and have just as much of a connection with your team.
Yeah, but it's not even just work for me. I was telling us it's friends, it's family, it's the restaurants, it's the community. It's not just work.
It's a new journey, I guess.
Yeah, it's like you're not just leaving all that; it's leaving everything.
A lifestyle.
And people from Orange County, at least a lot of us, we hate going to LA.
Oh yeah,
It's just LA is. It's just traffic. It's dirty. It's yada yada yada. Yeah, no, they have great food. They got great, excuse me, obviously great opportunities, great jobs out there, and things like that. But us Orange County people, we dread going out there. But yeah, anyway, so you are seeing some people. How about the renter market? The rent market from the fires. Have you had to deal with that a little bit? And because one of my last episodes, I was showing some examples about people that were price gouging. I don't know if you experienced any of that. Like, actually, it's people in the LA area, the Venices, the Santa Monicas, the Manhattan Beach, where people are going, and these are super high-end rentals. It's the Palisades people.
Yeah.
It's people some people were at 11 grand a month, and then like a month they're at like 18.
Yeah.
So, and I guess they're still getting people. I mean, it's insurance money that's paying for all this now. But
yeah,
still, you're getting applicants. I mean, what have you experienced in the rental market with your clients?
They
from the fires.
Well, like so I don't focus too much on the rental client, like personally, but I do see it and I do track it. And the good thing is that the DRE has taken measure. You know, they've come out with different regulations that have literally just like laws that fine agents that do that. And so they will literally fine an agent if they're caught, just being part of a process of price gouging. So there's now don't quote me. I don't know the exact percentages in regards to how much you can raise the price by. But the DRE definitely stepped in and they said, no price gouging. I've received several emails, just overall, just from like different changes and things that are happening just to kind of keep us informed. But yeah, the DRE they had to step in because it was becoming a problem. It was becoming a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a mess. I mean, yeah, you're right. You would see, $20,000, rental go to like 20 to 45,000, and they would get it rented out, and it's sad, but you would see that. And so, we're going to see a bit of a backlash, I feel, from that, from everyone who did. I wouldn't say we, but the market in general, from the agents who have done that. And then, yeah, they can, there's probably going to be problems down the road, but it's not necessarily something that it's kind of calmed down since the DRE stepped in. But right when it happened, yeah, we saw.
And the backlash between, Governor Newsom and what's her name, Karen Bass, they got a lot of shit after those fires. And because of that, I feel like a lot of people are, I kind of talk about this quite a bit, but the people I get comments or people calling me saying, what about Texas? What about Arizona? People that now kind of want to move out of state. And you've been in the business for 18 years. I've been in the business a while too. And I've never heard as many comments like recently from my like inner circle or just my clients in general that are saying, what about this state? What about this state? What's your opinion and what have you seen about people kind of moving out of state and how, what's your opinion on all that?
My same clients from Taiwan, they're looking at property right now near Houston as well, like as a second property. So just they still have their home here, but they're looking in an area that's what is it like southwest of Houston. And so Houston, they've seen. I know personally a few clients and friends that have moved to Houston, that have moved to Austin, that have moved to South Texas, San Antonio. But
have you seen it? Yeah. And in recent years, have you seen it more or less?
This is probably the most I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
I've never seen it as much as now. Like even myself, I'm looking like, I'm just like, okay, not to move, not to transition, but as many clients that are transitioning to Texas and the calls that I'm getting, and as much that I travel down there just personally, and then I'm even in the process of where I think it's time for me to, have a second license there in the state of Texas.
Wow.
And just to be available. Yeah.
It's got to that point, huh?
It's gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've even flown down to Texas to show property with my clients. And it's one of those things where I realized, I'm being down there. I said, okay, well, there's certain differences or certain regulations, but when it comes to the actual structure of the home itself, the principles are the same. The overall principles of selling the home is the same.
Yeah.
But the rules, the rules for that particular state's a little bit different. So it's a couple things to understand about the market, but
that's blown up, man. I just read, actually, Realtor.com just announced that they are moving their corporate head. They just announced this week.
Texas?
They're going to Austin, I think.
They're going to Austin.
They were in, I think, they were in Northern California.
Sao Paulo, right? Or
I think they were in San Paulo. I can't remember the name of the city, but somewhere in Northern California.
Sao Paulo. I think it's Brazil.
It was Sao Paulo's Brazil. Yeah. It's not.
It's just Sao Paulo. Thinking of Brazil.
It's Palo Alto.
Palo Alto.
Maybe from Palo Alto. I'm not sure. You guys, you can probably look it up online, but they just moved from Northern California. They just announced it this week, and that's what kind of made me think. I keep hearing more and more people and more things are kind of moving to Texas, man. So
there's a lot of land out there, man. There's a lot of land. There's. I mean, you can buy plots. I mean, just residentially, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe not right in the middle of Austin and Houston, but Brazil. See, now you got me thinking of Brazil.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
And anyway, that's another subject, but yeah.
Right, you go like Brazil or just I think it was Jamaica we were going to, but anyways, but thinking about just the transition of Texas, like just in everything that's happening, like with Texas, I think that we're going to have a huge, like not necessarily huge, it's already kind of happening, but like an exodus, like in a way.
It's happened already, but
yeah, I
don't think you'll see it from the high-end clients just because money's not an issue. So
yeah,
most people are moving because of, it's all economic related, man. It's all economic related. Maybe some of the Altadena people might be leaving. Again, they're more blue collar, but because they're more blue collar, they need to be near their jobs, or they're either working with their hands, or clients are local. They're a little more hands-on. Like you said, these C-suite executives can be a little more remote, you could say.
Yeah.
But the Altadena people, they're going to be a little bit different. Yeah, man, the fires were really bad. So anyway, you didn't see anything with the, we talked about the rentals. You didn't see any, you personally didn't experience any rental gouging. I know that the GRE's done a lot of, announcements and things like that, but you didn't see anything personally with that?
Yeah, no, I haven't experienced it personally. Me personally, I would have walked away from it. Just if a client said, hey, I want you to do this, or it's just it's something of where we're in a crisis right now, and it's one of those things where it's just like, why would you want to make it worse for it's like, why you can't, why kick me while I'm down?
Yeah,
right. It's just, that's kind of the situation. That's the way I see it.
Oh, for sure.
Once you lose everything, the
situation, yeah,
it's horrendous. Yeah. It's horrendous.
Taking advantage of people who are already down. It's terrible. But I'm trying to think. Maybe they're thinking, like I said, that they're just taking insurance money and they're not taking these people's actual money. I don't know what they're thinking, or just but they still are taking advantage of a situation.
Yeah. Even insurance money, it's like someone pays for that. Because the insurance money, affects the rates of everyone else.
Money, people don't give a damn, bro. It's corporate money. So,
but it's still, it hurts. It hurts overall because then what happens when you take corporate money is that they increase the rates.
Your pockets, yeah. Your pockets eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I guess one of the last things that I wanted to talk to you about was the future. I guess the future in terms of, where do you think the market's going, and also this new administration that's came in. Obviously, the Trump administration is in now. I've never seen. Even us as Americans, we've never seen a guy make moves, whether you like him or dislike him. Moves are being made.
Yeah.
Again, whether you agree or disagree, don't even matter. The moves are being made regardless.
It's happening.
Yeah. So
right in front of my eyes.
Exactly. So, what do you think? Do you think any of these moves, especially, it's really just. So you know what? I literally, right before I walked into this podcast, I saw that he was signing some other tariff it was to steel. Yeah. I think it's steel and another product, a 25% tariff on steel. So, steel doesn't have anything to do directly with residential real estate, but it is with commercial real estate that use steel, and obviously like lumber, things like that. We were going to do a 25% tariff on Canada, where we get a lot of lumber from. But But anyway, in terms of like the future, I guess, and I'm talking about the like 2025. We just started the year. We're still in the first quarter.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the podcast, you're telling me your phone has just started blowing up. Like, just for, I guess, for you and your little inner circle, why do you think your phone started blowing up? What do you think? What changes have you seen, and where do you kind of see the business going ahead this year?
I think that a lot of people just got kind of tired of the wait, like kind of just sitting back and waiting for something to happen. You know, just
Right.
they're like, hey, it's I keep on pumping the mic, but it's they get tired of just that transition. They get tired of the wait. They get tired of that whole. You know what? I'm going to, just sit back and wait for something to happen. And I say it's time for me to take it into my own control. And a lot of my clients, they've been using, whether it be majority cash, all cash, just like a lot. I've just been using either their trust money, or just a lot from just to kind of reduce the impact to where they can finance
Of interest rates, basically.
Exactly. They want to reduce the impact of the interest rate. So they still want to finance, but they want to reduce like how much they're financing, because of the fact they don't want to take out like a 1.5-2 million dollar loan where they're paying interest on it. They're like, hey, you know what, if I'm buying this house at 1.5 million, and then let me put down 800,000 and just finance 700,000, right? And something like that, to where it's like their impact is not as severe, but they still want to move, and a lot of times they'll say, you know what, we just want to, we want to wait. And I say, well, think about it like this. You own your home now, right? If you wait for prices to go down, guess what else goes down?
Yeah, your house.
Your house. Your house. So it's like, if your home goes down and that home goes down, you're just doing this, right? So the only people that it's really, really affecting, truly, in my opinion, is going to be the first-time home buyers, right? The people that don't own homes. Because if you don't own a home, and then it's kind of like, all right, here's,
You're not moving with the market because you don't have anything in the market. Yeah.
You're not investing in it. You're not flowing with the market. No, now you're watching it and you're waiting to jump in, and not knowing if you're gonna be able to stand still or be able to actually like hold your own. And you're seeing a lot of parents helping, a lot of family, a lot of friends, a lot of money coming from places that just are nowhere near their bank accounts. So it's just like I have clients where, just like mom and dad will step in, and just a lot of like family, a lot of friends, it's just there, a lot of gift money, and you're seeing that way more than I've ever seen.
No, it's got, I saw that the average homeowner is now 38, or the average first-time buyer is now 38 years old, where it used to be like 26, but that was literally in like the 70s or something like that. I know it's been a long time, but I'd like to buy I would, if I was, I'd like to buy a home before I turned 38 years old. I would love to have bought one. Like, the American dream that was another subject. We were talking about the American dream, and is it still the American dream to buy a home? And I don't know if it is anymore, because number one, it's super expensive, and you got to be, again, the average buyer is in your late 30s, but I don't know. What do you think? Is the American dream still alive? Is buying the home still the American dream?
I think it's alive if you have a good relationship with your parents. If you have a good relationship with grandma, it's like,
I know it's bad. The problem is wages haven't kept up. Prices have gone crazy, and we're waiting for prices to drop, but prices can't drop because then our job it's just this whole cycle. It's a whole mess, basically. Yeah. And like you said, you just got to figure it out, get in. I guess, man, not everybody has parents, and not everybody has, or parents that can help. Not everybody has parents that can help, or grandma, whatever the case may be, man. It's just, it's got tough on the regular family the last, 3 to 5 years, especially after COVID. But I always like to think that the American dream is still alive. I think it's alive. And I was just talking actually to my audience here. I was talking and doing content last week, and I was just saying that the American dream now is no longer buying a home, but it is just the opportunity that exists here in America. There's a ton of opportunity. There's opportunities to make, again, a lot of jobs are turning remote or hybrid or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And working remote and hybrid is actually the American dream, when you can keep the same income. You don't even have to get dressed anymore. You can just...
It's freedom.
Yeah. It's right? The time freedom is what I was talking about.
Yeah. not having to worry about like just like when you wake up in the morning, just having that opportunity where you can go out, you know, you can relax, you can kind of just take that moment and just take in a breath of fresh air and just be free. And like, you know, that's how I am like with myself. When I wake up in the morning, you know, I'll go, you know, I'll run, you know, I run a lot. And so, you know, I'll run just a few miles on the beach, you know, and that wasn't something that was always, you know, I'm a kid from Moreno Valley, right? It's like, cause like we didn't have, you know, we had smog and like, you know, we had like just
whatever we had out there.
It was dangerous to run. Like it's it was well back then, but
back then it was kind of hood.
Yeah. It was. So it was just one of those things where, you know, it's just like being from, you know, from a certain place, you take full advantage. You realize, you know, you just like when you live in LA and you're in this, you know, this 1,000 square foot home, and you're like, I've lived my entire life here, and with everything that's happening, now I'm going to sell this home, you know, for maybe $1 million, 1.2, you know, and I'm going to take this down to Fontana. Right? I'm going to take this down to Rancho. I'm going to take this down to, you know, Riverside, where we can get a 3,000 square foot home for like maybe, you know, 900,000, 950. You know, and that's a different lifestyle.
And I'm seeing a lot of people even move further out, man. I don't know how they're doing the drive, but people are moving to the Apple Valley, Victorville area.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, I got guys driving 90 miles. And
wow.
I don't know how they're doing it. They're telling me they're getting in vans. These people I got a guy right now, we're actually about to close. He's going to drive 90 miles to work. And it was a question that the underwriter asked. We had to write a letter explaining how he's going to get to work. And basically there's a carpool van that he's going to take to work every day. This guy makes around 100K. So he's not like, you know, he's not killing the game, but he's making he's making an okay living. And he was just saying that he can't make that kind of money out there and he needs to keep the job. But he's going to try to move stores. He's in the auto industry, but he does sales. So he said he's going to try to move out to that area, move jobs or move locations. But for now, he's going to have to do anyway. Well, I'm seeing actually a lot more of that. And actually, I don't really like it, and I don't like seeing it because I want to see people. I want to see people live where they want to live. It's not that they don't necessarily want to live there. They feel like they have to live there because they have to move out because the prices are what they can afford, and they do want to buy a house because they don't want to get priced out forever. And they feel like they're priced out here, where a 1,200 square foot home is $19,000 or $900,000 for 1,200 square feet, or $1 million, or even 1.2 million for 1,200 square feet. We're seeing, especially here in Orange County. Actually, I'm in escrow. We're closing this week on a property in the Tustin area. Again, about 1.2, 1.3 for 1,200 square feet. Yeah, nice. That's about right. And for the area.
How do you raise like a family of like 4
they have
kids?
Actually, this family I'm thinking of, they have kids. They're smaller homes. They're built in this, 50s, 60s. They're nice, but it's just expensive, and you have to make a ton of money to live out here, which kind of sucks. And again, I hate seeing, I don't know what could change with the market. But anyway, I don't know if you have anything on that.
Like, I think that, I heard something recently about Trump lowering the cost of lumber, of wood for the builders. So if it costs less for the builders, and then they can actually start to offer newer properties at lower prices, which is essentially going to drive all of the other market down. Because if you have brand new homes that are hitting the market that's lower than retail, or resale, then it's going to force the resale market.
Yeah, it's going to force the resale market now, but here we don't have land like that. LA Orange County doesn't have land to build communities. So you're building infill communities, which are 6 to 8 homes or something. And where I was talking to, again, a lot of the content that I was doing is the problem is they're building these townhome style homes, which they're connected homes, obviously with the garage at the bottom. They're everywhere now. And the reason is because you as a builder will make probably 3 times as much, because you're building the same square footage. You're putting 2,000 square foot on 3 levels. To put that on a 1 level or even a 2 level home with the backyard, you're not going to make that kind of profit. And it's going to take way more land that we don't have. So, and the main thing that we're missing in this market, in the LA Orange County market, which is basically the high-end market here in the Southern California area, we're missing small single-family homes, detached, like your own backyard, your little garage, like something, again, those 60s and 70s homes or 50s homes, something that's 900 to 1200 square feet, a 2 to 3 bedroom, depending on the size, small home. And
they're non-existent.
They're not exist. They don't build those anymore. And that's what and you can price those low, but you don't make as much. They cost too much to build. They're not good investments for the builder. So if you can give some kind of incentive for the builder to build a small home, that's what we're missing. Yeah. But again, we don't have the land. It's just so many what ifs, and we need things to kind of fall in place, and it just hasn't fallen in place for the first-time buyers. Yeah, first-time buyers are getting squeezed, and they will be getting squeezed. It's not, I mean, at least in the major metropolitan areas, even if you're in Philly, if you're in Atlanta, if you're in Houston, same thing. You're going to have to go to the outskirts. You're not going to have to be near the city. You're not going to get that. No. But anyway.
Turn them down, rebuild them as just like you're seeing it even in areas like McAllen, Texas. You know, I was looking at a property in McAllen, and it was, I looked at 2 different properties. One was like, it was 275, like right around that range, but it was a single family, 3-bed, 2-bath. And then I looked at a 4-bedroom quadruplex, and 4-bedroom, 4-unit quadruplex, and that was $500,000. So I said,
get that all day.
Exactly. I said literally for less than double the price. Now you go from 1 family to 4 families, and they're the same 3-bed, 2 baths. You know,
that's huge, and you're getting probably $1,200 a unit or 12. Yeah,
you are. It's $1,250 to $1,350. You know, and so
making good money on that. I mean, that's a way better investment. That's another subject. I mean, multi-unit properties are always. I mean, they're gonna make better cash flow. There's just more units. It's more stuff to work with. But
that's wild, dude. That's wild, man.
But yeah, Brandon. Anyway, I think like we covered a lot. If you got nothing else, man, we'll probably wrap it up here.
We'll wrap it up. Look.
Wrap it up, man. No, I appreciate you coming on, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. You got anything else?
Yeah, no,
chance. No.
Right. No, I definitely. Just going back to the fires, you know, my heart goes out to everybody who's affected in the Palisades fires, and just and in Altadena, and just, you know, we're here with you. Realtors are on your side, right? There's obviously realtors are salespeople, but at the same time, you look at it from just a human perspective, and it's just like, no, we are definitely here to help. And so, I mean, realistically, when it comes to it, yeah, just don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to just ask for guidance, and just know, hey, where should I go? You know, where do I need to go? You know?
Yeah.
You know, and just be people first.
People first.
People first.
You. A guy that puts his clients above anything, does anything risk, even getting a Matterport camera.
I love my clients. They're people.
For a guy in Taiwan to get a house, that's awesome to make a deal. So anyway, appreciate you coming on. Until next time, man. Thanks.
Yes, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. All right.